Resonance with Akindata. Hello, soul family. Welcome home to the Roar and Resonance podcast. How are you today? How are you landed into our sacred space? And if you are new to this space and what is Roar and Resonance? Roar and Resonance is it's a few things. It is a portal, a portal that allows you to jump to the timeline of where you want to be. It is a portal to elevate and awaken your divine and original blueprint. It's a safe space, a sacred space where when we come in when we say we choose, we accept, the moment you click play, the moment that you're listening to this podcast, intentionally, consciously connect into the space, you are protected and guided by beings of higher dimensional realms, beings who are here to serve our highest good, who are here to guide us towards our highest timeline. And we hold that space for the this and that, meaning we understand that the quote-unquote dark or the light, the good, the bad, they all serve a purpose. And what we want to come to, what we are invited to come to, is to live a life that is it aligned or it doesn't align? Or it doesn't align. And we are guided to live and guided from our heart centered. Our heart chakra serves as this beautiful portal that, and all the chakras, they connect and dance with one another. And in this case, our heart chakra allows us to just think about, how can I live a more heart-centered life? How can I surrender into the softness, this ease, this invitation to not have to sweat, we cry to get there, or while also having all those moments, but how can we look at it a little differently? And this interesting theme today too is about, I was reading this book called The Soul's Code by James Hillman. And I'm only in the beginning chapters. The thing he says that I remembering right now, I feel called to share, is that we can look at patterns and we can look at trends, and anybody in sciences, psychology, and many different fields were reduced to like a statistic. Right? Like a pattern of behavior, and patterns are true too. They serve a purpose. Trends serve a purpose, but there's this what he invites into the conversation is this mysticism that, that little spark of inspiration as a child or in this is inspiration to do something that's so different, and it's a seed, right? A seed of unique potential, meaning that each of us, is the acorn theory, each of us, we carry these unique codes, unique blueprint, unique mission. And in a sense, we've chosen the set of circumstances, meaning even the people in our lives, the mother and father. There's a theory that before we are even born, or when a child comes into the physical world, is that they've chosen their parents. And for what reason, right? A lesson, a guide, or something to awaken that plays a role within their divine blueprint, the awakening of their divine blueprint. And I was like, oh, this is actually pretty interesting. If anything, it sparked an idea to look at things in a little differently. And it offers this opportunity to see beyond just the binaries of ones and zeros, but it also even digs even further to say that maybe that we are the artists. We are not only the artist, but we are also the canvas. And this entire world, this entire life is actually a playground. Like, can we stay with that for a little moment and maybe live in that, knowing that as if like this world is actually your playground and that you are meant to play. And it's interesting because it ties into, as you can hear, I'm like shuffling a few deck right here, and the question that came to mind that wanted to come out was, how can we allow our inner children, our genius inner child, this creative genius, to guide us towards our destiny, right? How can we surrender to that piece of ourselves that knows something much more than words can ever explain? And the other thing that I've wanted to mention is that in the book, James Hillman talks about how an acorn, right, a seed, and we can use this with any type of theory, any object too, a seed, when it's properly nurtured, meaning the right environment, the right circumstances, it's able to bloom. When it's not nurtured properly, then it doesn't grow in the healthiest way, and it may face obstacles or detours, right? But the core thing is that the original blueprint wants to wake up. There's always that itch, that urge, that knowing that wants to come alive. So we can take all these different detours throughout life, but our original blueprint, our calling, wants to come out and play. So that was one thing. The other thing is how you can't force a seed to grow, right? There's this whole idea of divine timing, and it's always so daunting to hear that, because like, oh, I wanted to get here, like this patience that's required to nurture. And I think if we were to shift our perspective a little bit and think of it as like utilizing this time to nurture the seeds, like if we can look at ourselves, and I'm just seeing us right now, like as these little seeds in like this giant terracotta pot, and like if we can look at ourselves like, hey, little seed, and we're nurturing it with this much love that we give to our animal friends or our plant friends, that we can give that same nurturing vibe to our own selves. Just how magical and beautiful it would be to see us all grow. And I could just see each of us like little sprouts, like doop, 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 doop. And it's like so adorable. So I guess the biggest thing I'm sensing today that wants to come through is this invitation to bring in our inner children for the ride. And also to consider how we've forsaken is the word that's coming through. Forsaken our inner child. How have we not advocated for our little selves? And that's interesting to see and think about, because there are many times that we were so good at advocating for other people, friends and family, ourselves at work, or actually not even ourselves at work at times, but we're so good at other people other than ourselves. And now it's like, hey, today being a Saturnian day, Saturday, how can we lean into that childlike nature, our innocence, our inner child, to guide us towards awakening our original calling, awaken or guide us towards that path. And that to know that you are in a space where your desires to be seen, to be heard, to be acknowledged and witnessed, they are all valid. And that your inner child, you're being that little classroom jokester, or that introverted child who just simply loves to read, or one who wants to just be in the kitchen, or one who wants to go out and work on cars and furnitures. How this space allows you to be all of that. Oh, and I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Akindara. I am Akindara, and I am also Sally. And I will be your cosmic companion on this journey. And, as I'm growing, we're all growing. As you're growing, I'm growing, and the space grows with us. So, without further ado, and I think 313 might be significant for some of you, is let's get started. I pulled some cards for us. Oh, and I love this. The first significator card that I pulled for us is the number 5, friendship. And I'm seeing this idea like, can we befriend with ourselves? And I like, it's so beautiful how, and I keep saying it's so interesting. I keep wanting to say it's so interesting. Like, oh, this is like some new awakening. And I think for some of us, it is that. It is like this newfound, like, whoa. And I would like to take a moment to celebrate that, right? Like, yay, applaud. And I find that this card with a number 5 is interesting. If you were to draw it like the 5 dots, I want to say how you see it on a dice. There are 2, right? 4, they're usually with the number 4, there's 2 on each side, and they're equal, right? They're pillars. You're able to put things on top, and they hold well. When you introduce another number in the middle, that number then creates it can be collaboration and co-creation, or it could create competition and competition and comparison. So in friendship, this dynamic when as we start to introduce from, being the only child and you start introducing playmates or just even relationships, right? Friendships. They can be friendships that are nourishing to our soul, or they could be draining. And in this sense, so this card, I feel like it's a lot more to do, I guess in some ways, as above, so below, as within, so without, right? Is how can we make friend with ourselves? How can we be our own best friend? And then at the same time, observing how the type of friendship that we desire and truly want for ourselves, can we take a moment to observe how and whether or not this friendship is seen or mirrored in our physical friendships? But the first and foremost thing I feel and I see and sense right now is this idea of like, how can we be friends with ourselves? Like before looking for a best friend externally, as that is also important, but rather, how can we take a moment to look internally and find the best friend within? So I think that's such a beautiful card to see, and it feels very gentle too. It doesn't, and I think one part of that is because of the deck that I'm using. It's called the Inner Child and Beyond, and I'll share that link in the below. And the color for it is a very gentle. It's like this beautiful dance or coming home to self, and it's like this gentle unfolding. It's not like let me rush through it, and it comes back to the idea of a seed, right? We don't force that seed to grow. It'll grow in the time that it's meant to grow. So people may force us to, I don't know, this is interesting. Okay, people may force us to give them an answer that we may not be ready to give. Can we, in the face of these head-on collision or opposing ideas, opposing interests, can we hold steady within ourselves, hold steady and lean within ourselves to grow and unfold at the time that we want, to advocate for ourselves? And then I'm opening the book for some bibliomancy here, and I want to point here. Okay. Friends show their love in times of trouble, not in happiness. Being with a dear friend who can hold space for you to share your story, to cry and laugh with you, is one of the most beautiful gifts of human existence. By deepening your connection with your inner child, you increase your ability to be authentic in your friendships. When you become more comfortable with the pain and grief inside of you, you gain the ability to be present with your friends who are suffering. And I think this is very, very, very beautiful and great to have this kind of just said out loud and right here, right now, is that when we are able to sit with our own discomfort, we increase the capacity to sit with the discomfort of others. Meaning, when we are able to sit with our own human messiness, we build that muscle, we build that capacity to sit and just simply observe other people's messiness. So the more we look at ourselves with no judgment, the more we create that capacity to look at others with no judgment. And an exercise here is to just simply say out loud to your inner child, imagine if you were to close your eyes right now and just call your inner children, whatever pieces wants to come forward right now, as your inner child. It could be your very little one self at 3 years old, 6, teenager. And just say, I find, and say out loud and just speak to them. Even have like a little picture of yourself as a child and just say, I find comfort in our friendships. And grief and sadness, I think, I know. I think for some of us, not all of us, I think it's grief and sorrow is like very much right there, right in the forefront of our heart. And I've been going through this exercise on like, how do I invite my grief and my sorrow to come in? And I think looking at my grief and sorrow as little children, they come in when they are ready to come in. But they also come in when they feel safe to come in. So how can I create a space? How can I feel safe within myself and in turn create space for my own emotions to come through, my own inner children to come through and awaken and allow them to feel? So one of the first questions I actually asked is, how can our inner child guide us towards our destiny? And we have the card 35 with integration. 35 makes up 8. We're in the year of the 8. 2024, add it all up, it's 8. And it's this beautiful green card. And on the card, there's this multifaceted dress that a woman is wearing. It's filled with a prism of colors. And right dead center is a sprout. This period that we're going through right now, my love, is a period of integration. And integration, as we've shared in previous episodes, is not easy. This period of contraction, this period of shedding, this period of growth, imagine like a growth spurt or a baby that's teething. Well, a baby that's teething, it's very hard to witness. And it's a process that they, in a sense, they naturally go through. It's part of their path, right? Is teething. It's a normal human condition. And teething is not comfortable, and such is growth. Growing out of old ways, and witnessing others being where they are. And I think for some of us, I think for a good chunk of us actually, we're in this spot, it's a weird spot where we look and it's like the situations are the same, but the way that we see people is very different. We see it, everything else is the same, but I'm not the same. And that's an interesting place to be, because now like we're in this period like on how allowing all the dust to settle so that we can move forward. And this is what integration is all about, is integrating all the pieces of ourselves, right? It's been going on this ride, on this healing journey. And even this period of like, if you've been in, I think in the last month, right, before in the last moon cycle, we've been going through a big period of growth, looking at our trauma, looking at our pain, looking at our blessings, looking at our gifts, and then gaining a lot of messages that are coming through different modalities. And now is this period of like, all right, time to integrate and allow it to come into as embodied wisdom. And that is not comfortable. But what I can say, what I can offer here, and what my mentors have shared with me and shared with others like me, is that the number 8, this infinity sign of as above, so below, as within, so without, this 8 year is a very fast moving year. And also, it's physical manifestation, meaning that it's a fast year. And it's a year where things come into reality rather quickly. So, in other words, what I want to offer to you is that this period is not going to last forever. And this uncomfortable space that you're in, it's not going to last forever. So, what can you then the question, the invitation here is, how can you invite in more fun, more ease to this process? How can you make this your sexy sadness summer, or your whatever sexy summer? For this period, this summer, I invite you to just think creatively what you want to call it and how you can invite it. How can you play with this idea, this ripening period that you're going through? And let's make it fun. And that's the whole thing that's coming through. I think so that's very beautiful to see. The other question that I've asked is, how can we surrender to allow our inner child to awaken our original divine blueprint? And I got the card 18, blind spot. And as to see is like, sometimes we're not able, as being intuitive and being channeler or being individuals with vision, sometimes we have this big picture in front of us, but the big question that we often ask, I know I often ask, is, what am I not seeing? Like, I'm able to see a lot of things, but what am I not like seeing? And what I'm not seeing, I ask these questions because I wonder how much of my upbringing, my past, my trauma, all these different stories influence how I see something. And I have this idea, this goal of living a heart-centered life. I want to be able to navigate with discerning, with confidence, where along the path. And I think this comes down to like, wanting to, like, this perfectionism, right? Wanting to have everything. As a part of it is control. To control, perfectionism, want to be completely unproven. And I'm coming to a realization right now as I'm talking to you is, not maybe, I am a reflection of God. I am a reflection of the divine. And as such, I am perfect as I am. I don't need to try to be more of something. Or I don't need to force myself to play nice or to make peace if internally my heart says I'm angry. I don't need to keep up with that facade. Ooh. Right. I can feel my one moment, guys. I can feel my grief and my sorrow coming through, is that I don't have to be perfect, and that's okay. I don't have to control every single little thing in my life, and now my inner child is is feeling safe to come through. So thank you all. Thank you all for being here with me in the space too. For this to unfold. In the book, I'm reading the first line that jumps out to me. Adulthood is the process of untangling the threads and becoming the author of our own life. Parents are godlike beings to their children. These giants, whether they were loving, angry, present, or distant, gave you life. Their attitude towards you created your first impression of yourself, for better or worse. In the journey of connecting with your inner child and meeting their needs disentangles these threads and allows you to raise your head out of the murky darkness and hold it up high, owning what belongs to you and releasing what doesn't. Until we know where a belief about ourselves come from, we have a blind spot. Now imagine that all of these tangled cables are plugged into outlets. If you randomly unplug them, you might power off your computer and lose the work you were doing, or you might unplug your hard drive or your router. You need strategy, patience, and some deep breathing to follow one cable at a time and locate its function and purpose. So, this card invites you to shine a light upon one of these unconscious patterns or behaviors so that you might unplug it at the source. So from a perspective, here's an exercise. So from a perspective of your younger self, write a list of adjectives for your mother and father or caregivers. My mother was, my father was. Is there anything you blame your parents for? Read the words you wrote and notice which ones are judgmental. Pick the words you wrote that your body reacts to the most. And ask yourself if you treat your inner child that way. And if it is upsetting for you to witness this quality in another. Just going to continue. I want to complete this one. For example, if you described your mother as cold, distant, and mean, you might have trouble noticing when you are cold, distant, or mean, but you will very easily identify these traits in others. You also might not naturally regard your inner child with warmth and kindness. If a parent was critical towards you, you become self-critical. If a parent neglected you, you will ignore your inner child. Tell your inner child, Mom and Dad were not perfect, but they did the best they could. I accept them as they are. I am, and we can say this out loud to support us. Imagining a cord that you are ready to let go, and it's time to let go and pull that cord. So that you no longer give energy to that one seed that has served its purpose. And you can say out loud, I am who I am, and that is that. Replacing the old belief with the vastness of who you truly are. And you can even, with the full moon coming up too, you can write down these old beliefs on a small piece of paper and burn it. I am who I am, and that is that. Ooh, thank you guys for being in this space with me. I just felt like when I had that revelation with you and was able to share with you and I allow you to see this piece of me too, can feel like a layer falling off as part of the integration. And to think more about this path that we're on, this path of like, how can we allow our inner child to guide us towards our destiny? Peony, compassion is always the key. Allowing compassion to guide us. Can we share it with love? The ever-present beauty of growth and transformation. Can we look at this beauty, the growth and the transformation? Lotus flower. Peony is considered one of a very majestic, beautiful, luscious flower. And this lusciousness it exists in all of us. The lotus flower is a beautiful flower that grows in the mud through hardship. It grows and transforms into this most beautiful flower, and it's a symbolism in so many areas, and in Buddhism, in Hinduism, in different programs. There's so many that it shows up in. And it's to allow us to see, like, how it goes back to that question, how can I allow my inner child to guide me towards my destiny? Maybe sense of awe and wonder in just how far you wouldn't be here listening to me talk or other people like me talk if you didn't follow something. And I think it is to highlight, to shine a light on that. Like, what is that something? And we have the strawberry full moon coming up, right? This beautiful, luscious, pink full moon, love, light, desire, what really lights us up. I think just allowing and giving ourselves that opportunity to look at our own life, look at just the human mess, just look at how far we've come with so much love, compassion, and awe, and awe, and awe, and awe, and awe of the deep growth and transformation. And how awakening our blueprint. I'm trying my best not to cry. Oh, I don't want the entire episode to be about crying. Question on how can our inner child awaken our divine blueprint? Your heart is made of gold and sunshine. You are stronger than you think. Oh, the gentleness of these beautiful sunflowers. Your heart is made of gold, my love, and sunshine. You are a star. You are a beacon of light. You are such a magnificent being, and I am so in awe of you. I feel like this message is for the inner child in each and every one of us. And Yarrow, you are your own healer. How can I allow my inner child to awaken my original divine blueprint, awaken my soul's purpose, my calling? You already have it all in you. This coming home to self, this just to say you're on the right path. You are your own healer. You are your own artist. You are your own creator. I also taking a moment here. I think being out in nature, I get it. So 2 elements are coming through right here. Being out with earth. So being actually out with the trees in the sun. Or being on the earth, just grounding yourselves in the earth. Be good. And then, I didn't notice this before, but there's a strawberry on the sunflower card. Sunflower is summertime. Strawberry ripen. Strawberry, raspberries. And then under the other element, and they are right next to each other too, near each other, is water. So I think an invitation to do a bathtub. So maybe like a nice little cleansing bath, or if you're an inner child and you want to have like a nice little enjoying like a nice spa bath and just floating in water, floating container. And to these next cards I have are just how can we work our light? How can we like some tangible action? In a sense, birth in a new age. You are going through a birthing process, my love. In this process, birth a new creation, dreaming a new world into being. And I see us being like the central pillar of light, this beacon of light that I don't think even like getting enough valid. You know what? I am validating this. What you are doing is not easy. What you are doing, healing generations upon generations upon generations of trauma, is so damn hard. And you're doing it. and you continue to do it, and this period of uncomfortable and discomfort is not going to last forever. I feel like it'll be, before we even realize it, this period of our life, just even like this, how can we honor it? Honor this period of our life that is not even going to last. It's not going to last forever. This period of uncomfort and discomfort to grow, it's not going to last forever. Now, how can we honor those pieces, this death and transformation and rebirth? This period that we're going to is like this giant death. This death of old ways, of old selves, of old being, that as, and I think part of me, like, I've been feeling a lot of resistance as I'm like trying to feel grief and sorrow, but this resistance I've been feeling, these tendrils, it's like they're the pieces of myself, pieces of my ego, pieces of old ways that it's like it knows that it's leaving, it knows that it's dying, it knows that it's time to go, and it's holding on in any way it can. And it's so interesting is that you may even observe how in certain relationships right now, people, as you're expanding and you're growing, and all of a sudden somebody comes in and they expressing something that they want, their needs, but it creates like this giant disruption, this uncomfortableness. And it's like, even I feel like even the people around us, when they know, like, energetically, consciously they may not know it, but energetically, I think people aren't stupid. I think people are very energetically, can be very aware that they know they're not able to hold on to you any longer. They can't hold on to you any longer, and they'll do whatever they can to hold, even if it means triggering old ways, old patterns, or just awakening old ways of being, old dynamics. Anna, grandmother of Jesus, seed in the light, laying foundation, divine plan. You've been focused on your foundation. This is a call and an invitation to lean into your ancestors, lean into the wisdom that you have gained. Lean into how much you've been fostering your foundation, how have you been building your foundation. It's all part of the plan right now, and you are protected. What I'm seeing is that you are protected by so many guardians and guides. You're protected by your ancestors. Yeah, you are protected by your ancestors. And what is so beautiful about this too is that this deep desire, this deep seed for freedom, to break away patterns, it comes a time right in the line when somebody is the one that's going to be the one, right? The one that is like, yes, I'm going to be the cycle breaker. And I think for many of us, we are that right now. And what's so beautiful about that is that for all our predecessors who were not able to follow this deep desire, that desire still is there, and it's fueling, it's serving as nutrients, and nothing is ever wasted. It is serving as fuel for us to unfold into the most majestic, beautiful being that we are. And we are, can't make this up. The card that I pull about how can we allow our inner child to awaken our divine blueprint, break the chain, ancestral patterns, heal and rewrite in the future. And it's right next to you are your own healer. You are the one, and is underneath birth in a new age, the central pillar of light. You, the beacon of light, the central pillar of light. You, the healer, the witch, the warlock, the priestess, the warrior. You You are rewriting the future. You are breaking the chain ancestral pattern, and that takes... Sorry, guys. I'm sniffling. You're the one doing this. We're the one doing this. And it's recognizing that, oh, this is not easy work. This is why there's a whole transmutation that's happening right now. Oh, man. And the last card that I have for now, an oracle card, is Sisterhood of the Rose, Beauty, Devotion, Priestess, Mystic, and Teacher. You are supported by a council of beings, and I think a lot of the energy that's coming through, there's some structural changes, but there's this deep energy of trusting your own intuition and trusting your own, like the sacred feminine energy, this feminine energy that exists in all of us, our intuition, our knowing, our heart-centered, very living our life from a very heart-centered space, but then also being very supported by our sacred, our masculine structure. This period of, like, we are held, that I think that's the biggest thing that I'm getting through right now too, is like we are held within this container, within our relationships. We are held with our relationship with ourselves, like ourselves, and we are held by a council of beings who are here to support us. I'll try to take a picture. I got this I'm so excited. I got this new mat where I was able to put all the cards on, so it looks a little nicer. Even on my little tiny desk. I'll be able to take a picture and share with you all. Okay, let me grab some tarot cards and see if there's some additional actionable steps that we can take to support us. Oh, I was like, where's the book? Okay, I don't need the book. This is a beautiful deck. It's called the Forger's Daughter Tarot, and it's not on Amazon, it's on Etsy. And it's golden gilded, and it's very cute with like all the animals. Oh, I wonder, do you guys like it if I like to shuffle things beforehand because I think the sound could be a little uncomfortable if you're wearing like headphones and things. But so I shuffle like the oracle cards beforehand. And I don't look at the cards. The tarot cards I'm just shuffling live right now because I don't. Sometimes tarot cards want to come out, sometimes they don't. For this one, okay, let's see. Let me just tune it. Guardian angels, thank you. Page of Cups. Oh, the child. The child. Page of Cups. There's something so fun. And there's a lotus flower on here too, you guys. There's a lotus flower. There's beautiful emotions, childlike. Definitely invite. There's a big component of, as we're growing and expanding and being that we are, there is this invitation, right, to, our inner child is always going to be part of our ride, just as our higher selves, or we call it. So there's now this piece of growing into our inner child. It's an opportunity, and it's going to open doors. Ace of Pentacles, going to open doors, and there's persimmon. Oh, raspberries on there too. Oh, and it's going to bring in new friendships. I like that. An opportunity. Three of Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles, new doors and opportunities about new moon. And then the Three of Pentacles, new family, new soul tribes. New soul tribes. Soul family coming through, yes. And okay, Five of Wands, and it's okay, Five of Wands, 5 collaboration. Friendly competition. Not like I'm not getting. I think there's gonna be somewhere you're gonna cross swords with somebody, cross wands with somebody, and it's gonna be a little uncomfortable. But at the same time, what I'm getting is like a lot of collaboration too between people. So maybe like a group of like you're going on a new endeavor. Like what I'm hearing is like you're going on like a new endeavor, and this endeavor, there will be people, you have your own ways of thinking. There will be people that you'll cross your path, and they may challenge the idea, and it's not meant to be like in any sort of and it's like, oh, maybe it's like a blind spot, like is it like a blind spot that we're not seeing, and here they are coming in to support us. So it's in a way like this resistance or this opposition is to help us grow. So I hear mainly like growth. And then another card I have is the 8 of Swords in reverse. And let's see. All the swords are coming out. Not rest. No longer feeling. Think releasing this trapped feeling. It's hard to breathe, tangible feeling. There's a release of feeling trapped. So I think for some there's like this feeling of being trapped, and that, and right now is feeling very, very, very much out, right there, like very present, mentally trapped, mentally caged, energetically thinking that there is no other way. And you're here right now, and I'm sharing with you that there is a way, and you will find that way. You will find that way. Knight of Wands. Oh, and all of the cards have snakes in them. Most of them have snakes in them too. And there's a shedding, a release, and a transformation. Knight of Wands, romance, passion. It is not the end, it is only the beginning. And this idea, not trapped but not harmed. And so it's like asking, here's a very important exercise to do too, is to consider the container that you are in. And I'm talking about like the physical container. I mean, in your home, your place. So this idea, like, what is home to you? And is this a space that can foster your growth? Temperance, balance, and transmuting dark to light, transmuting misfortune to opportunities, transmuting once was to what it can be. What can it serve as nutrients for you? Death, rebirth, and transformation. There is, out of death there is new life. Not resist, do not resist, do not resist. 9 of Wands in reverse. The journey, it's like an almost there. Like you're almost there, and it may feel like it's not. But can you expand your field of vision to see beyond what is right in front of you? Can you look beyond what could be a potential? One more card, please. Okay, 2 more cards. My spot. The Hermit. It requires you to take some time to go within. Follow your own light. Follow the beat of your own drum. There is no rush. Take time. There's a snail on here. Death and Hermit. Both very slow, very intentional. Temperance too. So 3 major arcana cards here. They're very slow, intentional, even though we have Knight of Wands and other elements that are like very fast. I think there's this balance and act between the two energies of very fast moving energies that are happening, like our mental thoughts, racing thoughts that are happening, our desires. But then there's also this huge calling for something with regarding around patience that takes time. Transmutation takes time. Hermit and introspection takes time. Death takes time. And Seven of Pentacles, Seven of Pentacles, Seven of Pentacles. It's an intricate work that you are doing at this time to keep forth with what you've been doing. So stay in tune, aligned to a practice, a physical practice that you have been doing that can keep you grounded. So when you have these racing thoughts, or when your heart is like leading you to take action, I think right now too, the energy that is present is that Mars is in Taurus, and Mars is in like this Mars is an action oriented fiery planet, and then Taurus is like Venusian energy and slow and about love and about beauty. And so Mars is very uncomfortable, so there's a competing energy of like, my heart wants to do this right now, but my mind also says I need to get out, I need to get out, I need to get out. But everything else is saying take it slow, don't rush through it. This is the time to be very intentional, and the reason why we are doing it intentionally and consciously is because we are releasing something that is very humongous, something tremendous, generational patterns. And when we release them intentionally, we ensure that every last bit of it is released. When we rush through it and we force our way through it, we will only be left with injuries. Yeah, so take time. And the way that we can invite in this patience is to look at it with awe, look at it with compassion, to befriend our shadows, befriend our inner child, befriend our discomfort, to lean on your communities in the seen and unseen world, friends. Esquire cashtega tuekayana ayer kutu ukuya. Roskuya harkuduni kayerka asuna. Dorkodia kayarka stuingana ragir tukuya graho hana emikarastea. Durkodia sirtir star kadar keduro no ea. There's some light language to help with balancing out the energy, balancing out the fast moving energy, but this call for intentional weaving at this time. All right, take a deep breath. So that's all that I see in the cards at this time. Thank you to you for being here. Thank you to our guides. And I had a inner child meditation that I recorded not that long ago. And check out my website too for any like additional offerings that are coming up. There's some free moon gathering. If you want to be just surrounded by community, people who are like you, who want to heal, to grow, to just simply witness. And that is all that I have for you today, my love. I love you so much, and I'll talk to you soon. It's only the beginning. Bye, guys.